Hello and welcome to Code 9 Reviews with me, Shadow Legend 10, and today I'm going to be reviewing Deep Breath, the Doctor Who episode by Stephen Moffat, which is the first of the new series starring Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, also starring Jenna Coleman as Clara. Now, the first thing I'd like to say is we went to watch it in the cinema, and it was absolutely fantastic. There was a sort of prequel part where you had Strax giving you a little bit of in-depth knowledge on regeneration, but it was a comic view, so it was very funny. It was very nice to watch for us as avid fans of the series. We watch classic series and modern series. And, for me personally, as a child, I was religious with watching it. I had to watch it at the same time every night on a Saturday. Absolutely fantastic. For those who haven't seen the series before as well, it gives you sort of a comic overview of how each Doctor became the next Doctor, which was absolutely fantastic, obviously, because it helps invite new fans, particularly those who took the time to go to the cinema and watch it. So, let's get to the episode. The first thing I noticed was Vastra and her team, Vastra, Jenny, and Strax. They come across as a sort of detective, sort of trio, very much like Sherlock Holmes, but with two Watsons, as it were. And I thought that was really nice in Victorian London, particularly seeing as that's where Sherlock was based. I'm not sure if Moffat's done that because he also is the executive producer for Sherlock, the TV series with Benedict Cumberbatch, and he just likes that sort of that era and the writing by Arthur Conan Doyle. I'm not entirely sure, but it worked very well in this episode. I also love the fact that the dinosaur spits the TARDIS out, and that because it was lodged in its throat, it was travelled through time to Victorian era where the Doctor landed, which was very funny. And when it does spit it out, it has all this sort of dinosaur goo all over it, which was very realistic, and it looked really well done. I also found it very nice when Strax goes and bangs on the door and gives the audience his usual charm, saying that the Doctor has to surrender, for the greatness of the Sontaran Empire. I find it very funny when Strax has his little speeches. I also love that the Doctor can only access fragments of his own memory, because I'm a big fan of the fact that regeneration can fail, and we have had scares in the past where, I'll give you an example, when the iconic fourth Doctor regenerated into the fifth, the regeneration went wrong for a while, and he had to use the TARDIS' zero room to sort of stabilise himself, which is a zero atmospheric room. There's nothing goes on. It's sort of like a place of tranquility. However, they jettisoned the zero room to allow for thrust, to allow them to escape Event 1 when the Master had pre-programmed the TARDIS to be destroyed in Event 1, which was a massive hydrogen rush. So basically it's essentially sort of like the Big Bang at the start of the universe, and he'd sort of thrown the Doctor's TARDIS into it, and that's what they did to escape. I also love the fact that the Doctor smiles when he comes out of the TARDIS, and when he's going through all this crazy stuff with the seven dwarves. And when he gets to Grumpy, he sort of smiles, looks. It's almost like a wink to the audience. This is what my Doctor's going to be, which I quite liked personally. I thought it was really good, and I also thought it was really great that the Doctor mistook Clara for Handels, as Handels was his sort of last friend before he dies, as Matt Smith's Doctor, and I thought it was really a really nice touch, and it was very funny. I kind of chuckled when I was in the cinema watching. Which was very nice for me. I also liked reminiscing about the sort of similarities between this and the Christmas Invasion episode, because for me, when Jenny asks who is this guy, referring to the Doctor, it's the same as that Jackie did when the TARDIS crashes in the Christmas Invasion episode, and Clara gives the same answer that Rose did in the sense that she says, "Oh, it's the Doctor." It's the same man sort of thing, which I thought was a really nice touch. It sort of brought me back to the start of David Tennant's era, and I'm hoping that the the series is going to be as successful as that series was. Just from this episode, of course, I'm quoting. Obviously, the series is still in flow at the moment. Now, for me, I just want to talk about the opening credits quickly because I think they're absolutely fantastic. Like, really, wow. Thank you very much, whoever's created the opening credits. They're absolutely phenomenal. I like that mix between sort of Colin Baker's, Sylvester McCoy's and Matt Smith's theme in regards to composition. The music is very remnant of all them, them three Doctors mixed into one. I found that absolutely fantastic. So well done, Murray Gold, for that. The visual aspect was very good too. I really enjoyed the fact that the gears at the start were very similar to that of the walls of the room that the Fourth Doctor had created on Gallifrey during the episode I believe was called The Time Warrior, where the Sontarans had control of the Doctor's thoughts. They could hear and see what he was thinking, and so he'd struck a deal with them to try and take over the power of time, but he'd done that to save it, which you find out towards the end of the episode. I also found the rest of the credits very visually stunning. I just wish that they were slightly longer. So that's enough about the credits. Back to the episode. The Doctor, his confusion is really, really good. It's fantastic to watch. He makes the issue with his bedroom only having a bed in it, and the companions address this. But it makes me wonder, what's in his bedroom? Like, what has he got in his room that makes that room look so bog standard? I understand, it is just a bedroom, but what was he expecting? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Actually, what do you think might be in the Doctor's bedroom? What sort of gadgets does he have? Do you think? Be interesting to have a discussion about that, which we can do at a later date. I also love the line, "Don't look in the mirror, it's furious." I thought that was absolutely fantastic. It was a phenomenal line. I really loved it. Obviously, talking about himself, I just think that's what his Doctor's going to be. It's going to be absolutely fabulous. I think it's really good. It really made me chuckle. He also has this belief that everyone else has changed and it's not him, and this fuels his sort of denial, which is wonderful to watch. And it was only in this episode actually that I realised how wonderful the character Jenny is. She really is great, and she's a great sort of perspective of a solid, good character. I really hadn't noticed it until this episode, how good a character she was. She was given a lot more in this one as a character. It was really nice. Particularly I like the scene with Vastra and Jenny where they're passing judgment over Clara. It was really wonderful to watch how sort of this interrogation and judgment had been passed on her, and how she defends herself is absolutely fabulous. It really was nice to watch, and my adrenaline started pumping when through this whole entire speech. Even the way she speaks, the way that Vastra addresses Clara, the way Clara bites back and gives this fantastical argumentative speech as to why she's not this person that Vastra's making her out to be, and it's sort of like a bitch slap, and it's like, hey, you go, girl. Do you know what I mean? It really is a wonderful speech. It was just after this I actually saw the Doctor start to become the modern Doctor again. This sort of the modern era Doctor. But it did dissolve very quickly. It was like a sort of sugar cube in hot tea. It was gone like a flash. But that happened when the dinosaur was disintegrated, and you could see his frustration and turmoil. And it was that of a classic Doctor like John Pertwee, where you could see his genuine frustration and anguish over this beautiful animal being destroyed, which I really, really did like. A little note, actually, when the Doctor chases afterwards, after he's done all his acrobatics and hands-on approach, which the Classics Doctors did, was very hands-on, less technical, less thinking about it and talking about it, just doing, which I really do like. When he notices the robot in the crowd, when he walks by, on the building at the side, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, and I would be interested to hear if you have, there was the words Phoenix across the side of the building, which I found very interesting, because Phoenix is born in flame, and this dragon had just turned to flame. It's probably irrelevant, but I'm wondering if there was any sort of hints towards that within the series, whether that was purposeful or not. The same with the sort of hints towards Marcus Aurelius, and I have watched the next episode, actually, the Into the Dalek. There was hints with Aristotle, so Roman and Greek gods and philosophers and emperors, and I'm wondering if this is going to be a theme. It could possibly be where they're heading to, or I mean, I haven't heard any sort of spoilers or hints that Karen Gillan or Arthur Darvill would come back, and I do highly doubt it myself. But it's a nice thought that perhaps it's a hint towards the Last Centurion. Rory's character. Perhaps he might return towards the end, which would be a nice touch for me. Who knows? You let me know. You tell me what you think. I did have an issue actually with Clara. After a night's sleep, she dressed up as in a sort of Victorian costume again. How the hell did she get hair like that? And later on, how did she get it back to how it was? Like, do they have like curling tongs in the Victorian age? Like, do they have straighteners? It's just improbable. It just seems silly to me. And that character was of an alternate reality to her. So how would she be of the same? I can't put it into words, but it seemed a little bit too much for me. I could have accepted if she'd got into Victorian clothes, but replicating a character we've already seen as her in the Snowmen episode, it seemed a bit much. However, speaking of costume, Doctor, stop trying to steal the homeless guy's clothes. Just stop it, seriously. Nice reference to Tom Baker's scarf, though. I really did enjoy that. But you're scaring the wits out of Elizabeth Sladen's husband. God rest her soul. You just. Did anyone know that the guy who played the homeless guy was Liz Sladen's husband? Nice thing to know. If you didn't know, you do now. It was also nice to see that he finally has control over his regeneration. As he says, I got to choose this face this time. Time Lords in the past, like Romana, the Master, even Riversong actually got to choose their fate and sort of build and height and age and things like that. It was really nice to see. It was fantastic to sort of finally get that feel that the Doctor has control over his regeneration now. Moving on slightly, the chemistry between the Doctor and Clara was very interesting for me. I thought it was really nice to see that the Doctor notices that the robot droids in the restaurant where they are aren't actually eating. Obviously he doesn't realise they're robot droids until a bit later on, but he realises they're not eating, and it just sort of reinforces that point that he made earlier, that he actually just blanks out when other people are talking and only pays attention when it's his turn to talk. I really did think that there was a bit of continuity in that, and I really did enjoy that. No offence though, but seriously, this in the restaurant, the speed that chair was descending, it just seemed like a stellar stairlift. I'm not being funny, but it just seemed there was no need for them to be screaming. Seriously, like I'm not. It just seemed really silly that that they would be screaming at that point. That's just me. You pay your own sort of take on that, but it just seemed a little bit silly that this thing that was moving at the rate of a sort of a tortoise, that they would be screaming to that. It was kind of like, anywho. I did enjoy the quote at the bottom where he says, "It's times like these I miss Amy," which was very fitting, seeing as he's Scottish now. I must say I did have a lump in my throat when the Doctor leaves Clara behind. I kind of feel like that's something he would never do, but obviously we find out that he does come back for her in quite a dramatic way, and you get this wonderful line that says, I know where he'll be, because if he's the Doctor, still the Doctor, he'll always have my back." That's not a direct quote, so forgive me for that, but it was something Clara said, and I really enjoyed it. And you sort of feel like, boom, here's the Doctor again. Wow, there we go, bang! It was absolutely wonderful to feel as though we had the Doctor back again in that sort of slight moment of sort of adrenaline, and it was wonderful to see the way that Peter Capaldi acts as the Doctor in that moment. Speaking of acting, the control droid. The actor who plays him is absolutely unbelievable. He's in the fact that he's so believable. You can't believe how every action that he does is so perfect and so lifelike. In that he seems like he is an actual cyborg. He seems like he is a robot man. It's absolutely wonderful to watch. And whether you believe me or not, I did actually think at the time. When I heard the clunking from their heads, the sort of tick noise, I thought of Girl in the Fireplace at first, and my initial thought was where's Arthur? Martha the horse. If you remember when in the episode Girl in the Fireplace, David Tennant's Doctor finds a white horse, and it just made me laugh a little bit and wonder if it was the same ship, having had a cosmetic sort of refurb or something. However, it was a welcome surprise to find out that I was correct, and well, sort of correct. It was the sister ship to the Madame de Pompadour, which was really nice to find, and answered the question where Arthur was, seeing as it's a different ship. Now, when it came to the TARDIS, I love the design for the new TARDIS. I know it's very similar to the last one, but they added a little something, the bookshelf in the background. It reminded me so much of that of Sylvester McCoy at the end of his tenure as the Doctor in the TV movie, where he sits in his armchair, very similar to the one that the new Doctor's got, in front of a bookshelf reading, and I found it very nice to see that sort of similarity again. It brings everything back to the fact that this is always the same man. No matter how many times he changed his face, and I thought that was really, really nice to see. Now, this bit for me really did annoy me a little bit. Now, it was nice to see Matt Smith again. However, for me it just showed a lack of confidence in Peter Capaldi, which is an absolutely unmerited confidence in him, because he's absolutely fantastic and he rocks as the Doctor. I think he'll absolutely be fantastic. So please, although it was nice to see Matt, it would have been nice to see him later on rather than so close to the regeneration. It just sort of undercut the fact that Peter Capaldi's the new Doctor, and I didn't like that very much. Now, my final point is, who is this Missy, the sort of Saint Peter, the sort of gatekeeper to this heaven malarkey? And what's with the crazy teeth that she's got going on in this episode? It sort of puzzled me as to who this person is. If you have any thoughts on who she is, then that's great. A theory we sort of came up with was that she was going to be a very sort of similar villain to Madame Kavarian, which seems to be what Stephen Moffat goes for in all his female villains. It's very clear that she seems like the main villain, and we really don't think. For me, I don't think that having a villain very similar to that of the one in Series 6 Part 1, at the end of that, it just seems like you're repeating yourself. It doesn't seem like it's going to be worthwhile watching. I think if they do that, it will be absolutely awful. If they do what I personally think they might do, and that's have her as maybe this sort of cyber king, you know, like very much like they did with in the episode The Next Doctor. I would really hate that. I did see a picture actually of her with a Cyberman in the background, and I thought, oh my god, please no. But I could be proven wrong. It's yet to be seen. I would like to hear your thoughts, as I say. But that's it from me. Finally, I just need to give this review a rating, and so I'm going to rate this episode a 4 out of 5, because although some of the things let it down that I've mentioned, for me it was still an overall very good episode, very nice to watch, and I really enjoyed it. So give me some comments in the comment section below. Like it if you like the video, and if you really like the video, please do subscribe, and I will do some more videos for you. Thanks very much for listening. This is Shadow Legend 10. Thanks very much.